Yo, what's going on? This is the International King of Swerve, Shane Strickland, and you can catch me here on AMBY.
Hey everyone, it's Alicia, and I would like to welcome you to round 2 with the International King of Swerve. It's Shane Strickland. Hello.
How'd it do? How is it going?
I'm fantastic. How are you doing?
Excellent. I'm hungry, actually. No, not too well.
Are you going to get a bite to eat before this whole thing goes down at Wrestling Revolver?
I've been trying to for like the past hour, but everybody's busy. I don't have a car or a ride around, so until everything settles down, I'll go get settled, like, food-wise.
You mentioned not having a car. Is that because you drove in once again with a stranger?
No, not this time. This time I actually got flown in, so I was like, okay, cool. So, but I am stranded at the moment, and so I was like, oh, I got some time. I'll hop on AMBY, round 2. So I'm like, yeah.
Well, I greatly appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, as I mentioned, we are here at Wrestling Revolver as the Wrestling Catalina Mixer, and this is going to be awesome.
The second one I'm participating in. The first one went to the second round against Phoenix, and that was a good one. That was a fun show all around. That was an awesome show. These shows are all awesome, though.
And tonight you're teaming up with Jason Cade in the 8-team tournament. So for you, heading into this with him, how are you feeling about everything, and how do you think the outcome's going to be?
I feel confident. Last year, I went second round by myself. So having somebody as talented as Jason Cade move on with me, I think we're going to go to the finals and win this whole thing. I'm feeling really good about my chances.
All right, really feeling the Swerve tonight, all of the confidence.
Yeah, always. Always and throughout life and everything. Even if I doubt myself, I doubt my situation, I got to be confident in it.
Okay. I like that mentality. Well,
it's gotten me here, so.
Well, before the camera started rolling, we were talking a little bit about your entrance music, which is Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan. And I love how as soon as that hits, not only do you get into it, but literally the entire audience just starts dancing. There's
a story about when I chose that. So I was sitting at my mom's birthday party about almost 3 years ago now. And they were playing music throughout the night, and it was really cool. Everybody was vibing, sitting down, reminiscing and talking and stuff. And my uncle grabs the aux cord in his phone, and he plugs it in, plays Ain't Nobody by Shaka Khan. Everybody gets up, starts dancing. I was like, that's my entrance song. And ever since then, I was like, I'm rolling with that.
Wow, as easy as that, really.
It was literally as simple as that. I'm like, this is making people move. This is making people feel good. This is putting people in a good vibe. That's how I want my audience to be. Because every time I enter the ring, I don't want it to just be, another entrance or a man walking to the ring. I want it to be a spectacle. I want it to be an event. I wanted that to capture you before I even touch the ring, before the bell even rings. I want to have your attention. I want to have your vibe. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of my confidence comes from, just my music and the vibe and feeling it.
Well, job well done, because as soon as that music hits, you 100% have everybody's attention.
And at this point, it's globally known. When they hear that song, oh man, that reminds me. It takes them to a moment, or it takes them to a match that they thought of, and that's what I wanted, and thank God it took off the way it did.
Yeah, well, it's funny because the first time that I saw you wrestle live was actually at a Wrestling Revolver show, the one that we did our first interview at back in February, some months back. But thinking about it, I remember I was listening to my iPod on random, and then that song came on. I tagged you in a story because the first thing I thought about was you.
Every time, that's the beauty of music, that's I like a lot of music inspired Swerve itself, to be confident. To the look is. You ever look at somebody and they just remind you of not someone else but something. It's oh man, they just epitomize this, they epitomize what jazz is, what music, rock and roll is, what hip hop, what the new age, that's what I wanted music to be with me, and me to be with music. When you look at me and see my entire breakdown of my character, you get a feel of it, just seeing someone oh, he looks cool, but you're oh, I get a feel for something about him, and then the music matches that, so all of it came full circle, just from pulling from different inspirations of music.
Well, I absolutely loved how last time you told me that you used to be in dance competitions and different dance shows, talent shows. So to me, that really stuck. So I was curious for you, those go-to moves, what kind of, were they for you or are they now?
Oh, I got to dip into the bag, and it's been a while since I've jumped into that closet to even find that bag. That's locked in in the freaking cellar somewhere. That's in a storage place I left back in Richmond, Virginia, or up in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. That was the last time I did any type of competition. But I might have something with it, but I don't even know. Once again, it's not even a thought. It's like a vibe. It's a feel. If I feel it moment of the song, it brings me to it, you know. But I don't even know how much I can really call back on anymore, in a sense. But yeah, I still got some moves sometimes. Like sometimes I'll pull it out in the entrance, walk to the ring. I'm like, sometimes I'm like, oh, I still got that one. Yep.
Are you surprised yourself when that happens? You're like, oh wow.
I do. Like I'll try another entrance and it just doesn't click. It's so weird. I'm like, that move I used to hit like back in the day. I don't got it. But then today, I got it. Yeah. But then like I try to pull it back. Nope, it's gone. It's gone. It was a brief moment. It's gone.
Well, I have to say that I absolutely love watching you in the newest season of Lucha Underground. I mean, Killshot is just killing it on there. So for you, filming in the Icy Temple, what was that like?
Honestly, I had a miserable time in that building. Not gonna lie, like a lot of people like to talk positive. Like, so I'm gonna be real about it. Like, I was like a little upset that season, and like there was a chip on my shoulder that entire season for reasons outside of like, you know, like business wise. I was just really like I had a chip on my shoulder that whole season, and like I feel like season 4 you can really read that. You can read that a lot with the character. You know, like I'm walking with the belt like slagging on my back. I'm not standing up with the team. I'm kind of like throwing it around. You can feel the vibe and the energy that I'm letting off. And then like as the season goes on, it kind of goes exactly with where the character of Killshot goes anyway. So like thank you for appreciating the work that I've been putting in for Lucha Underground this season. So far there's still a lot more for me to go, but it's definitely one of my more challenging seasons as a performer and a professional, and that's why you see the energy that it's there with, you know. So definitely like this one's more of a character driven season than season 3 and 2. You know, those were like really well performed matches. This one's more internal character driven. Yeah.
How are you? Was it more like difficult for you to kind of get acquainted with that? I mean, would you rather them just be match driven or the character aspect?
No, because I wanted to be on a different level. Whether it's like on a higher level, lower level, I just always want to deliver different. You know, like I don't want to like have Killshot be the same as season 3. I didn't want season 3 to be same as season 2. You know, I always want something different. It doesn't have to be like I did more or I did less or I did the same amount. I just need to do different, and I feel like I did a lot different from season 3, which I'm proud about.
Have you always been so quick and agile in the ring? Because when I watch you, you're just flying around everywhere, and it's like there's nothing stopping you, and I love that.
I've gotten quicker and I've gotten smoother. I've watched like seasons previous to season 4, and I was like, I'm a little stiff. I'm a little rigid. I don't move with the intensity, with the initiative that I needed to. And then after watching season 3 and then 4, then moving on and watching other footage of my other shows that I've been on in promotions, I'm like, okay, I like this. I like the way I moved on this portion right here. I need to keep that energy here. You know, and it's pretty difficult to pull and keep the same energy, you know, on the same, especially when you're portraying a different character. You know, this character wouldn't do certain things that you would do. So, like, I got to keep that same energy in a different realm, in a different mentality, but keep it the same. So, it took time to play with and develop over the time. So.
Well, speaking of things developing, it's been really cool to see Swerve City podcast develop.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, you used to have just one person on. Now you have, like, groups of people on literally just shooting the breeze in a room together. It's awesome.
Yeah. That came up with me and Montesi came up with that, like, I came on his podcast years ago. It was a really good time. He's a really well-spoken guy. So I was like, man, you're awesome at this thing. But what if we got together and start interviewing other people that the world would be interested in listening to? So, like, we came up with Swerve Talk. That's on High Spots Network, and then we're like, Sammy got really busy, which Sammy's like one of the most busiest people I've ever known in wrestling industry or in human life. Mm-hmm. So he went on to do his thing. So we were like, we still got a lot we can still do together. So we started the Swerve City podcast that you can follow on Twitter at Swerve City Pod and Instagram Swerve City Podcast Official. And we have a Facebook page and all that, and we drop new episodes every week. You know, we just finished episode 5 featuring Zeta Zhang and Ariel Monroe, who's just now in the Mae Young Classic. Mm-hmm. That's up on YouTube now. We have a YouTube channel you can follow, and every week dropping new content with new guests. Sometimes there's going to be no guests. Sometimes it's just going to be us. Me and Montesi talking for the week, and you can hear us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Play, and next week in Seattle we're doing a live show. So me and Montesi are doing a live Swerve City podcast right before the Defy show in Seattle.
Oh, that's wicked. I love how too with the live aspect of it, you've actually just streamed them on your Instagram as well. So it's like it's
interactive. Yeah.
I'll just get a notification. It's like Strickland's live, and I'm just kind of watching the podcast. And it's cool just having like the phone there and just seeing how much fun you're having instead of just listening.
I encourage all my guests to like, hey, put us on, start your streams, like put it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, whatever you want to do, and just like they can ask you the questions right there, and we can answer them live on the podcast. But we don't do the entire episode on the stream because that.
You gotta save a little bit.
Yeah, you gotta go watch it because we do like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know, like 2.5 hours was the 4th episode with Mike Pero, and that was a very like personal, dived into a lot of issues and like the world and everything, like his view on things in his perspective as a homosexual in the wrestling industry. That was a very personal thing for him, and for him to come on my show and be that open, I was really like, oh, that's awesome, thank you. He's like for opening up to us like that in the world. So like, and his following is so great and stuff. So opening up his social media to vibe with us and ask questions. You don't have to like wait till the next show to ask a question for the next guest or anything like that. You can do it right then and there. And if we get to it, we get to it.
Cool seeing the groups on there. So I was curious. I know last time I asked individually if you could have someone, you said Loki, but I was curious if you could have a group or a faction on. Which would that be?
We did probably going to be coming out soon on the High Spots Network, the Swerve Talk. We did LAX when we had Conan, Santana, and Ortiz, and Homicide. We had all them. Then we had OI4K. So we did those guys on Swerve Talk, but for Swerve City Podcast, I need to think of some new guys. It'd be cool to have like a Bullet Club or anything like that, but I feel like they have their own social media world going on. You see so much of it already. There's not too much for us to ask about, that. But as far as factions, we need more factions in the wrestling world. Period. I think, but I don't even know. Like.
To kind of change things up then, you mentioned how we need more factions. What's a faction that you would like to maybe be a part of? I mean, with random wrestlers on the indies or anybody?
My favorite person I teamed up with for the longest time has been Keith Lee. But he's off into the great beyond. So I'm glad I was able to do that and build. That would have been cool to build a faction off there. But as far as I'm happy doing what I'm doing on my own. I'm multitasking, have my hands in a bunch of different things, a bunch of different promotions at this time. So I think doing a faction would be just like stretching myself way too thin as it already is. But like I like being an individual. Yeah. I like, and especially like it's tough to like pull people into the speed that you go. That can be a very difficult thing. And I like the crew that I have with Montezi and the cameraman behind the camera who films our episodes for YouTube, Cy. Shout out to Cy. Like they're starting to understand and see like, oh, it's Thursday. Where's it at? I need these clips. I need these video clips. I'm running the Twitter. Like, too slow. Right. Hey, what's the sound? Why is the sound acting like this? Come on. So like I pull the people in and I get like the viewers like from Kazim, who's a writer up in WWE right now. I'm real tight with him. He sees some of the stuff. I ask questions with like the Pete Rosenbergs of the world. I get people looking at it like some people like, so I need my stuff to be good, so like running a faction, I'm like, not right now. I need to focus on what we're doing right now because like we can do big things with this stuff. And it's not even just wrestling people I have on. I have Cornell Gunter from EA Sports who works on NBA Live. He came on episode 3, I believe, and that was awesome. So like I'm just going to interview people from the media world, period, not just wrestling. Anybody in music, anybody in video gaming, anybody who sits behind the camera, does interviews and stuff. Like it doesn't matter if you're in the media world and you had a struggle or anything like that in your life, you want to talk about it, how you got to this point, because I want to educate the viewers and listeners who are struggling and what they're doing to how did they get out of that hole to get to where we are to be able to talk about this stuff to y'all. That's why I want that interaction. Like how do I get out of the hole that I'm in? How do I get out of the pit that I'm in and be confident enough to overcome that to become what we are today? Because I think a lot of times we take for granted the professionalism in the business that we get to do every single day when there's people that literally are like stuck and can't figure out how to get into our chairs. You know what I mean? So
That's really great plan. I'm gonna have a little talk with you afterwards to see if we can maybe do some things. That'd be fun.
That's what I'm talking about. We interact.
Yeah.
I'm pulled from business everywhere, man. That's what it's about.
Well, let's say congrats on everything, and just thank you so much for catching up again. I love seeing all of your posts, all of your updates. You're seriously just killing it all the time.
Oh, thank you. Man, like I try not to like get into anything that interrupts the flow that I have with life and business. You know, like there's a lot of people like that. There's a lot of things that's going on with social media that can like pull you back instantly from something you done or said years ago. And like I right now being focused on social media is really, really, really difficult. You're avoiding a lot of landmines. So that's where I'm really focusing on and being like just really running like a really parallel line.
Yeah.
You know, so that's all I can really do and stay focused and be positive and confident.
Beautiful. Well, I want to say thank you. This was awesome having you back on.
No, seriously, thank you. Appreciate it.
My absolute pleasure. And remember to everyone viewing, visit us at aliciatoot.com for all exclusive interviews and features. We'll see you for round 3.